Good morning to all of you. Uh, I welcome you all in this lecture of power system instrumentation. As per our SUV curriculum, the code number is EE311. Double E is denoting for the electrical engineering. Unit is the fifth. We are started basically, and the topic is power system instrumentation. Second, in this, first we are going to start the instrument transformers. What are the instrument transformers? We have, we can say instrument transformers. So we are going to understand this whole thing. Now, if I'm talking about the power system instrumentation, so as I earlier told you, my dear student, that power system instrumentation is a important subject and is totally deals with the measuring part or measuring components or measuring the value in the instrument, in the basically power system. So we can say the power system instrumentation is deal with the measuring quantity of power system. We can easily measure the power system quantities, for example, voltage, current, impedance, we can say power, energy, all these we can easily measure. But for the measurement of them, we need an instrument. So if I'm talking about that instrument in the power system, that comes in the power system instrumentation. So it is basically an important subject, or we can see the extended or the enhanced part of the electrical measurement and electronic measurement or electrical measuring instruments. We can say EMI or EM. And basically, this is the extension part I am seeing here. So it means in electrical measurement, we talked about the measuring instrument, which is for the electrical quantity. So similar to that, we having the measuring instrument, but some electronic instrument we have, and we are basically talking about the high power. They basically measure the low power, low voltage, low current, but I am talking about the high power, high voltage, and high current. So we need what? We need a certain instruments, certain things. So that things we are going to cover in this power system instrumentation, and we covered because we are at the unit number 5, and unit 5 is the last unit as per our curriculum. So if I am talking about the unit number 1, so in unit number 1 we have studied about the errors. So errors is just similar to the blunders and mistake made by the human being, because we are a human being, not a god. So we make blunders and mistakes. So similar to that, a instrument having the errors in it. So what are the errors? These errors are such as random, gross, systematical, environmental, parallax, and all these errors we have. And basically these errors affected the accuracy of the instrument. Now accuracy is the word which is come from accurate. Accurate means we can say the true value. So true value, for example, I am having a true value. If I want to measure a voltage in a circuit, the value will be 5 volt. That is the true value. But I am not getting the 5 value. I am getting the repetition of readings nearby to 5, that is 4.7, 4.6, 4.8, 4.8, 4.9, 4.7, 4.8, again and again. So if I am getting these value, means I am getting the precision. That is the repetition of readings, known as repetition of measurement, repeatability of measurement. That is known as what? That is known as basically the uh, precision. So accuracy and precision both are there. If we having several measurements, we have with our in the measurement. So what we have to do? We have to calculate the errors basically. So how we calculate? First we take the mean. First we take what? Mean. How we can take a mean? If 8 readings are there, though add all 8 readings, all measurement, and divide by 8. Divide by 8. So we get what? We get what, my dear student? We will get the mean, average. And if I want to take the deviation, so the average will be the 4. For example, the average will be the 4.6, but I am getting the value 4.5 and then 4.8, 4.9. So I'm in the deviation in positive side and the negative side in the error. So we make a curve of this error. So that curve is known as the distribution curve, and also known as the Gaussian distribution curve. So we can identify the deviation is from the negative side, it's from the positive side. So we can identify the range, that the range having the positive side are more or the negative sides are more. So we can identify easily with the help of that Gaussian curve or the normal distribution of the Gaussian curve. Then we can calculate the deviations. We take the average of it, that we can call as average deviation. Standard deviation is also there, similar to that your in mathematics we have studied about the statistical theory. How can we solve so many readings? So that is the standard deviation we have. Then we having the variance. So these all are in the unit number 1. Now if I am talking about the unit number 2, my dear student, so unit number 2 is basically what is basically telling you about or told you about instrument or a device or a element or a particle of a system which basically use to convert or basically conversion from one form of energy to the another. So if I am talking about the one form to the another, so the one form may be the physical quantities. Now if I am talking about the physical quantity, though maybe the acoustic, chemical, biological, displacement, pressure, mechanical energy. Okay, we having the we can say the force is there, so we can convert into the electrical, because I am an electrical engineer and you are an electrical engineering student, and we are studying this subject in the electrical engineering branch. So we always talk about the electrical transducer in a power system. So electrical transducer do what it does, convert one form of energy to the electrical energy, that is electrical transducer, so known as electrical transducer. So in electrical transducer we having two conditions, we having two basically the part. First is your the sensor, second is the transducer. So sensor basically senses which type of reading we have, and transduction is basically transduce change or convert into the another form. So transduction, if I am talking about, though we having so many characteristics which the basically the transducer having it in it. Okay, then we having the transducer on the basis primary and secondary, active and passive, analog and digital. On the basis of transduction we having capacitive, inductive, magnetic, photoconductive, photovoltaic, phototransductive. So all these we have. In this we having different transducer. For example, we have understood about the LVDT, that is linear variable differential transducer. Okay. Then we having the RVDT, rotatory basically. Then we having the thermistor, the thermal resistance we can. Then we having the RTD, that is resistance temperature detector. Then we having the potentiometer, that is POT, we can say. Strain gauges we are applying. Okay, and Seebeck effect, that is thermocouple. Then we having what, piezoelectric transducer, photovoltaic cell. Okay, capacitive in transducer we have magnetic measurement, we having Hall effect. So we have understood so many transducer for the different measurement. We having the another transducer known as inverse transducer. Inverse transducer do what? If we apply voltage on it, electrical on it, it convert into another form. Similar to that we having the piezoelectric crystal. If I am applying the force on it, then it will directly convert to the voltage. And if I am applying voltage on it, it changes its dimension. That is displacement. So the basic example is thermometer, you can say. So RTD we have, LVDT we have, thermistor we have, thermocouple we have, potentiometer we have, resistance temperature detector we have, thermistor we have, strain gauges we have, thermocouple we have, photovoltaic cell we have, magnetic field we have, Hall effect we have. So many we can say the transducer we have for the measurement purpose. So we have understood all this. Then in the unit number 3, basically signal condition. So if I am talking about the signal conditioning, my dear student, so if I am in a signal conditioning, I want to condition the signal, so I need sensor and I need a transducer also. So transducer is a main component of that thing. Then we need an amplifier. So in amplifier we use first amplifier, that is the operational amplifier, that is IC741, 8-pin structure. In this 8-pin structure, all 5 pins are in the use for inverting, non-inverting inputs. 1 output and 2 voltages, negative and positive, and 3 are for the for 2 for the no connection, 1 for the null side. So I hope you understand. Okay. In IC741, that is known as operational amplifier. That operational amplifier is known by its working. Basically, why I'm telling it is an amplifier. Amplifier do what? Amplify the signal. Means in high input impedance and low output impedance. So that having in the operational amplifier, gain is very high and having the good sensitivity, high rejection to CMMR, common mode rejection, you can say. Rejection we having rejection ratio, that is common mode rejection ratio. We having this all in this, and basically why I'm telling it is a operation, because it performs several mathematical operations. For example, we have mathematical operation like adder, subtractor, differentiator, integrator, logarithmic, anti-logarithmic, voltage follower, difference we can get from it, inverting output we are getting from it, negative, that is. So several mathematical operations perform this, that is why it is known as operational amplifier. So that is IC741. Then we are having the instrumentational amplifier. While we are using in the instrument, so that is the instrumentational amplifier. That instrumentational amplifier is basically what is basically the combination of three op amps. One is the differential, another one, two are giving the same input, and differential do this. Then we are having the isolation amplifier. Isolation amplifier to isolate. If I am connecting the amplifier and the electronic component or the measuring instrument or the we can say nowadays we are using in the laboratory so many instruments for measurement the pulse rate, heartbeat, high blood pressure, sugar, and all these things. We need electronic equipment that is totally based on the electrical supply. So if there is no isolation, then what will happen? The leakage current will flow to the patient body and it will affect it. Electric shock will be there, and though we have to make electrical safety, so for this we need isolation amplifier. Okay. Then we having the optocoupler, analog multiplier and divider, Gilbert mixer we have used, Gilbert mathematics we are using. Function generator, we can generate three different types of waves: triangular, sinusoidal, rectangular, and sawtooth we can say. So we use what? We use op amp, operational amplifier, as an integrator. Again, if I'm talking about the analog multiplier and divider, and we can say adder and subtractor. In adder and subtractor, we are again using op amp. In analog multiplier subtractor, we are using Gilbert mixer. If I'm talking about the optical amplifier, we having the optocoupler or optical amplifier. We use again integrator, op amp is there, and we having two things: frequency and power we can see. So we having all this thing. Then we having frequency to voltage converter, again using frequency path and the voltage path. Then we having the temperature to voltage converter. We can directly do this thing with the help of proposed TVC there, but we can say the temperature to current converter. We have studied a lot about this thing basically. Then we having what? We having basically grounding and shading. Grounding is again a very important part. Why it is a very important part? Because if I having a leakage current, means fault in it, so leakage current will always flow into the path where having the low impedance. Similar to ourselves. If I want to drive a car and want to go to the destination, reach to the destination, so I have to follow that path in which I will find less or low red lights, we can say, or low hurdles, speed breakers, and all these things. Okay, so I have to follow that path. So similar to that, the leakage current will always follow that path in which the low impedance we have. So we have to produce low impedance. So how can we do? We can say the star to delta connections in a transformer. So three phase, four wire we can say. So three wires are connected to the three phase, and remaining wire is connected to the ground. For this leakage current path, we can say. Okay, I hope you understand. Then we having the shielding and grounding. We having two types: multiple point and single point. In single point, we connect all the instruments grounding into the single point. For example, I am having 19 equipments. Connect all the 19 equipments grounding at the single point. Then we have the multi-point, means all 19 instruments having their separate own ourself ground. It is known as multiple point grounding. Then we having the shielding to protect the instrument. In copper, we always having a shielding part. So all metals having the shielding and permeability. So we talked a lot. We have understood about a lot about the unit number 3, that is signal conditioning. Then we having the unit number. We can say what? Unit number 4. In unit number 4, we have understood about the measurement of voltage and current. So it is very easy. We can measure the voltage with the help of voltmeter and with the help of ammeter. So voltmeter always connect in the parallel in the circuit from which we have to measure it, and we connect the ammeter in the series. Voltmeter in the parallel or ammeter in the series, and we having the loading effects. For example, if I am connecting a voltmeter measuring instrument, ammeter measuring instrument, so both having their internal resistance. So their internal resistance always produce a disturbance or effect on the reading. So that is known as loading effect. It is known as what? Loading effect. Though we having two types of instrument, analog and digital. If I'm talking about the analog, though we having the full scale deflection, deflecting torque, controlling torque, and a scale. But if I'm talking about the digital, though we having binary language and some solid state components, means electronic components. Okay, so this is all about the voltmeter ammeter. Then we having the, we can say, measurement of voltage, frequency, voltage, time, delay, and frequency and phase angle. So CRO is the best instrument or equipment for this. In CRO, it is also known as cathode ray oscilloscope. In this cathode ray oscilloscope, the heart, or we can say the main component, is CRT. And with the CRT, in the CRT, we are having the cathode gun, you can say, and heater which through which we are having the cathode gun. Then we are having the focusing anode and the aligning anode. Then we are having the horizontal plate and the vertical plate, through which the ions basically placed on the iron, just like a fire placed on a scope. That is a we can say screen. So it gives you the wave, it gives you the output. So similar to that, we can find the output in the LCD screen, that is of CRO, cathode ray oscilloscope. So from the waves, we can identify the voltages or horizontal or vertical level. We can identify the time from the scale. If I am identifying the time, though, we can identify the frequency, that is F is proportional to 1 upon T. If I am getting the two waves, so the difference of two waves is the phase difference. So we can identify the phase. So with the help of CRO and Lissajous figure, we can identify the frequency, we can identify the voltage, we can identify the phase angle, and we can identify the time. If time is there, we can easily identify or measure the frequency, and if we are measuring the frequency, we can identify the time. I hope you understand. Then we having the active and reactive and apparent power, that is complex power, we can measure it. Then we having the energy meter. So energy meter we are using for what, it's also known as watt hour meter, for the measurement of energy. So it is an induction type, or we can say disk type structure. 7 types we have. Then we having the, that is known as analog. Then we having the basically digital, or we can say electronic. In digital and electronic, we having so many electronic components we use, microprocessor base and all these. So we can do this, the measurement. Similar to that, we having the spatial type like energy meter, that having the storage capacity. We can use for the tariff meter also. We can directly calculate the tariff in the form A plus B and C, constant and B part and E part. So we can easily measure with the help of these, the tariff meters. Okay, so these are the tariff meters we have understood in the unit number 4. Now in unit number 5, we having basically the power system instrumentation number 2. The unit 4 is the power system instrumentation number 1. So basically we are coming into the power system instrumentation part. So in the power system instrumentation part, we are going to study the first part, that is instrument transformers. So what are they? We are going to understand. Now if I am starting this unit, my dear student, so there will be some objective of myself. I have a motto to accomplish that motto, to accomplish my task. So I have some objectives. So my first objective is help the learner, means you students, to understand the basics of instrument transformers. What do you mean by instrument transformer? Why we are using this? Which type of instrument transformer we have? So all these we are going to cover it. So help the learner or students to understand the basics of instrument transformers. Now understand the detailed theory of current transformer. So instrument transformer are classified into 2 categories. One is the current transformer, this measures the current. Another one is the potential transformer, for the voltage and potential. So basically I am considering a current transformer. I am delivering this lecture on the instrument transformer basics and the theory of current transformer. This type of current transformer we have, how can we use it, where we can place it. So all these we are going to study. Now moving forward, instrument transformers. So the pictures or the images I am showing you here, I am showing you my dear students. So all these are basically the instrument transformer. We can find a voltage transformer, we can find a capacitive voltage transformer, we can find a current transformer in it. So these are the some images. What are the instrument transformers we have? So in this we are showing you the disk type, we are showing you the different types instrument transformer, which you have already studied in the SGP. Basically instrument transformer we having in the EMI also, but in this we having the little part or the small part, that is instrument transformer. So these all are the instrument transformer with bushings and all. So here are the some images. Now instrument transformer. What is an instrument transformer? What is an instrument transformer? So it is a transformer that is used in conjunction with any measuring instrument, that is ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter, watt hour meter, etc. Many measuring instruments or protecting equipment, that is relay. It utilizes the current transformation and voltage transformer properties, or we can say the properties of the transformer, that is the transformation ratio, to measure high AC current and voltage. So we can say instrument transformer we are using to measure high voltage and current, because ammeter and voltmeter having certain limitations. Now, for example, a voltmeter maximum we can use for the 220 volt measurement. So if I want to measure the voltage in kilo, means 10 raised to the power 3, 1000 volt, 1000 watt, 1000, we can say 1000 ampere, 1000 volt, 1000 watt. So if I have to measure all these quantity, though voltmeter, wattmeter, a simple voltmeter, wattmeter, ammeter is not sufficient. So I need a different instrument known as instrument transformer, and this is used in the conjunction with measuring instrument, ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter, watt hour meter, etc., or protective equipments relay. Relay is just like a switch, which is used for the protection purpose. So it utilizes the current transformation, obviously. How we are using the current transformation now? See, in a transformer we having K, that is transformation ratio, is always equal to the ratio of secondary voltage to the primary voltage, primary current to the secondary current, we can say, and primary turns to secondary turns to the primary turns. So V2 I2 is equals to V1 I1. So we can say V2 by V1 is equals to I1 by I2 is equals to N2 by N1. That is your key transformation ratio. So by using transformation, current transformation, by using voltage transformation. Now see, if I want to step down the current, so which configuration I have to use? That is step up. Why step up? Because in a step up, the secondary voltage is increasing, is uplifting, but the decreasing of the current of secondary side. The secondary side or basically the output current is decreasing. That is I2. So I2 is decreasing means step down. So I have to use step up construction. Step up means secondary winding having more turns and primary winding having few turns. So in current transformer we apply this thing. If I'm talking about the voltage measurement, that is potential transformer and voltage transformer. So in voltage transformer I need step down transformer. So step down we having primary turns are more compared to the secondary turns. So we apply these transformers. I hope you understand. Now, instrument transformers. The types of instrument transformers are, these instrument transformers are of two types. As I earlier told you, we basically considered for two main things, voltage and current. Because we know if I want to know the power, then we need voltage and current. Okay. If I want to know the impedance, then we need voltage and current. If I want to know the reactance, capacitance, inductance, resistance, admittance, we need voltage and current. In both cases, we are in the need of voltage and current. So respect to that, or we can say considering all these things, we having current transformer and potential transformer. I hope you understand. Current transformers and potential transformer. As name suggested, current transformer for the measurement of current, and voltage transformer is using for the measurement of voltage. Now moving forward, application of instrument transformers. Now for measuring of measurement of high AC current, it is usual to use low range AC ammeter with suitable shunt. For measurement of high AC current, that is of high rating kilo amperes, we can say, because if I am talking kilo volt, then it means the corresponding current will be kilo ampere. So for measurement of high AC current, it is usual to use low range AC ammeter with suitable shunt. For measurement of high AC voltage, low range AC voltmeters are used with the high resistance connected in series. In voltmeter we connected resistance series, in ammeter we connect resistance in parallel. Yes. For measurement of very high AC current and voltage, we cannot use this method. Instead, we use specially constructed high voltage instrument transformer to insulate the high voltage circuit from the measuring circuit. In a winding, one is primary, another one is secondary, and both windings are wound on a core. So if I'm talking about the winding, so winding means if I'm talking about the primary winding, so if I'm giving supply to the winding, that is known as primary. And if I'm taking the supply out, basically the load connection, that is known as the secondary winding. So primary winding we are giving the supply, and secondary winding we are connected to the road, and the turns of the primary is known as N1 and the turns of secondary is known as N2. So we can say here in a single phase transformer, in this basically the windings are magnetically coupled because core is C, but electrically separated. Magnetically coupled and electrically separated. Why is it so? Because we are giving electrical supply to the primary side and taking out the supply from the secondary side. That is, we are connecting the load. So two or more windings coupled by a common magnetic core. So if I am talking about the basically the single phase transformer that is having two windings, so we having the one winding transformer also, that is known as auto transformer. So later on I'll tell you all this thing in this lecture. And if I'm talking about the three winding transformer, then we have again three winding, that is known as tertiary winding for local load. So later on I'll tell you about whole this thing, that is single winding transformer, a tertiary winding transformer, or winding three winding transformer. So later. Now moving forward, ideal transformers. Now one thing is there, my student, my dear student, if I'm talking about the ideal. So ideal condition is always different from the practical conditions. Because if I'm dreaming for something. So I'm dreaming means I am thinking something. My thinking and my practical things are opposite to each other. We can say not similar to each other. They having some different things. Means I'm always thinking that I have a big bungalow. I have the luxurious cars, the cars which are available in the whole world. That luxurious cars I am having in my dream. Okay, and a big bungalow I am having. So these are basically the ideal conditions. So ideal transformers is different from the we can say the practical physical practical transformer. If I am talking about the ideal condition, so in ideal condition I will not make any mistake, because I am become a god. I am not a human being. If I am a human being, so I make a mistake. So if I am talking about the practical, though in practical we will find always losses. So what we have in ideal transformer, we can say the leakage flux, because we having the self-induced EMF E1 and self-induced of secondary, that is E2. So leakage flux will be there. Okay. So what happened? The basically zero leakage flux produced by the primary and secondary currents are confined within a core. No leakage will be there. Means no losses will be there. No eddy current and some other loss will be there. So all flux will be mutual, not self. So confined to the core, we can say zero flux. So we having one loss is equal to the zero. So we are getting higher efficiency. So we can say 100 efficient transformer, but it is not 100% efficient transformer. But practical says it can't be possible. Okay. Now the windings have no resistance. It is not possible. We have always our body having the resistance. So we can't say that non-living thing have not resistance. All winding having the resistance, because the metal which we are using to make that winding will having the small value resistance, but having the resistance. So winding and no resistance, induced voltage equal applied voltages. It is due to the no resistance. The core has an infinite permeability, means permeability is higher, means higher magnetic flux. So reluctance of the core is zero. If permeability is infinity, the reluctance will be zero. If permeability is zero, then reluctance will be infinity. So my condition is reluctance of the core is zero. So the permeability is very high, that is infinity. Negligible is current to require established magnetic flux. So if I want to establish or produce or generate or induce magnetic flux, so I need a small current, that is negligible. Lossless magnetic core, no eddy current or hysteresis loss. No I square R loss, because we have no resistance. No leakage flux, means all flux is confined to core, mutual is there. No hysteresis or eddy current we have. Negligible current we are using. So we can say 100% efficient transformer. But practical, it is not possible. This is the condition for ideal transformers. Now, if I am talking about the ideal transformer, so here I am showing you one thing, that V1 is the supply to this primary winding and V2 is the connected to the load which having no load. Now I am giving the V1, through V1 the I1 will flow, and having the self-induced EMF, that is V1, and that flux is of alternating nature, so move from, and why it take place, if I am giving the current, that current will meet with the N1. So I1 N1 converted into the MMF, and if I am in the reluctance in that circuit, though MMF by reluctance we are getting the flux, that is phi1. That is the primary flux phi, and this flux is moving, no leakage is there, and moving and cut by the secondary winding, and we are getting the E2 and V2, that is the secondary side voltage, but E2 is zero. Why? Because there is no load. So open circuit is there. We can say no load current we having. So V1 is the supply voltage, V2 is the output voltage, IM is the magnetizing current, and E1 is the self-induced EMF. IM is the magnetizing current, and E1 is the self-induced EMF. And I1 is the no load input current because we are having the no load, and I2 is the output current, and E2 is the mutually induced EMF. So we can make a simple phasor diagram. Phi is proportional to I, though I is there, though flux is also there. And V1 is always, we can say, lead by the 90-degree because coil is there, resistance is no there. So we can't say it is impedance triangle, we having the perpendicular. So it is V1, here we have the E1, and E2 we can say, and E1 lags IM by the angle of 90-degree, that is phi by the 90-degree. Why? Because I am telling you about the practical condition, ideal condition. If I am talking about the practical condition, though the angle will not be 90-degree, it will be less than 90-degree, but it can, we can say it is basically lagged by the angle, some angle, that is phi. So here it is the 90-degree. So understand about the ideal transformer. Now, equivalent circuit of a transformer. If I want to make the equivalent circuit of a transformer, that is no load equivalent, we having the IC and IM. Now one thing is there, my dear student, which I want to tell you. If I am talking about the practical conditions, so in practical conditions we having both these two, but in the ideal condition we doesn't have these two, but in practical condition we having these two. Why we having these two? Because if I want to tell you later on, I'll also tell you this thing circuit with the help of ammeter. Okay, so if I am talking about the voltage transformer, though it means I am stepping down the voltage. So stepping down the voltage means we use step down transformer, means the turns of primary is basically higher or having the large number compared to the secondary winding. Means secondary winding turns having low number or less number compared to the primary. So I hope you understand. Now, these are the substation class circuit breakers. Substation class. Now these are the circuit breakers. See, these are the, we can say, circuit breakers CTs, current transformers. We having the substation class circuit breakers, SF6 or so many things. We having air blast, SF6, vacuum. Okay, SF6 is the gas circuit breaker, we can say. Oil circuit breaker we having, air blast circuit breaker we having, vacuum circuit breaker we having. The SF6 circuit breaker is very good, over having the good advantage over all these. So it is showing you the substation class circuit breaker CT. So it is a CT, and it is in the basically a bundle of a wire. It look like a ring shape we have in CT. It look like a bundle of a wire, because you are if you try to purchase a wire, so you always get a wire in the form of bundle. Meters, we can identify in the measurement, that is in the meters. You can see, you can find it in a meters. So I hope you understand about this thing. Now CT, what is CT? CT is the basically turn ratio. What is it? It basically the turn ratio. So turn ratio is given by the primary current oblique secondary current. Now obviously, if I am talking about the one thing is there, my dear student, that the CT is the current transformer, and current transformer always having the construction similar to the step-up transformer. Step-up transformer, because in step-up transformer, the primary winding voltage is higher, is lesser compared to the secondary winding voltage, but the primary winding current is higher compared to the secondary winding current. So we want to stepping down the current but stepping up the voltage. So for this, the transformation ratio is a ratio between primary current of the CT to the secondary current of the CT. So for example, primary current will be the higher 100 amps, that is 100 ampere, and if I am talking about the secondary current, that will be the 5 ampere. So the ratio will be 100 by 5, 100 is to 5, 20 is to 1. Means the ratio will be 20 is to 1, that is CT ratio, or we can say the CT turn ratio. Primary current to the secondary current. Primary current always having the higher value, and secondary current always having the lower value, because it is step up construction, but as per the current, we can say it is a step down construction. Because in step up construction, voltage is higher, current is lower. In step down construction, voltage is lower but current is higher. So I hope you understand about this turn ratio. Polarity. So if I want to identify the polarity, my dear students, so polarity will be given like this. The direction of current will always show like this arrow. The direction of the secondary current is this. This is the secondary point. This is the primary point. And Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineer, that is IEEE and IEC, secondary polarity marks, that is X1, X1. So we always use, as per the IEEE on IEC, X1 for secondary. X1 is for the secondary. Basically, it is S1 for secondary. But as per the polarity marks given by the IEEE and IEC, because we have to follow that one. They are the basically a governing body, or we can say the statutory body, which gives you the how can we follow the things in electrical and electronics engineering. So they make X1 for the secondary and H1 for the primary. So primary polarity marks given by IEEE and IEC, that is H1, and X1 and S1 is for the secondary side, that is given by the IEEE. So that is secondary polarity marks. Primary current into polarity forces, secondary current out of polarity forces. Now primary current into the polarity forces, it is into the C, and secondary is out of the polarity. It is out of the, we can say the primary is in the and secondary is out of. So we can say out of secondary, in inner we have in the primary. So primary current into the polarity forces and secondary current out of the polarity. So I hope you understand about this thing. Now again I am showing you here polarity current into non-polarity forces, secondary current out of the non-polarity. So see here. Again direction of the secondary current. So we are having the IEEE and IEC, that is second polarity marks, and primary polarity, that is IEC. So here direction of the primary current. See, it is the direction of primary current input. So output of the polarity of secondary. So primary current into non-polarity forces, we have the output, and secondary current out of the non-polarity forces. You can see. So try to understand what this diagram want to tell you, and what I want to show you here, my student, through this diagram. So here we are having the primary current into the non-polarity forces and secondary current out of the non-polarity forces. And it is a ring structured CT. We have different types of CT. So that is a ring structure. Now, CT metering accuracy. Since actual secondary current is not equal to the rated secondary current, then the difference in percentage is known as accuracy or class of CT. Actual secondary current, for example, we are getting 55 kilo ampere, but the rated secondary current is 10 kilo ampere. So 5 is equal to 10, not equal to that 10. Then it is the difference in percentage known as, if I take the difference, for example, 5 by 10, I am getting 50%. So 50% known as the accuracy or class of the CT. So CT metering accuracy. We can identify also, we can try to basically remember, or we want to express that what is CT metering accuracy. So CT metering accuracy is showing by this equation, that is, since actual secondary current, I give an example you, that is the, for example, 5 kilo ampere, and the rated secondary current will be the 10 kilo ampere. So if 5 kilo ampere is not equal to the 10 kilo ampere, though we can say the difference, that is the 50%, is known as the accuracy, or we can say class of current transformer. That is what a class of transformer. I hope I hope you understand. Now burden. Burden is basically denoted as a load. For example, I have to, for example, you means you are a student and I am teaching you this subject, and the burden for you, my dear student, to understand this thing and better understand this thing and give the exam and try to score 100% marks, try to score 90% marks, try to score 95% marks, try to score 98% marks. So these all are basically the burden for you. So similar to that, the load connected to the CT secondary, it's known as burden. CT burden. The load connected to the secondary known as burden. Includes devices and connecting leads. Includes devices, the devices we are connecting with the in the CT secondary, and the connecting leads we are So always expressed in ohms. Always expressed in ohms. So standard values we have P naught, burden 0.1, burden 0.2, burden 0.5, burden 0.9, burden 1.8, E, we can say 0.04, 0.2. So we having some standard values. We can say the burden is showing you the some standard value here, and these are the basically load connected to the CT secondary. If I am talking about the load connected to the CT secondary, means these are the burden for it. Similar to that, you student, you have to study hard and give the exam and secure good marks. That is a burden for you. If you are in the job, so you have to achieve the target, you have to accomplish your project in the certified or the specified time. That is a burden for you. So similar to that, the load connected, the form the which form the load connected and the load connected to CT secondary is burden for it. That is CT burden, known as CT burden. Includes devices and connecting leads, expressed always in ohms. The standard values we have B.1, B.2, burden point 2, burden point 2, burden point 1, burden point 2, burden point 5, burden point 9, and we can say burden 1.8 and E.04 and E.2. So these are the burden. I hope you understand. Now, CT accurate burden calculation. How can we identify? See here, 1 ohm is connected here and 2 ohm is there. So ZT is equals to RCT plus RL plus ZT. Now what is RCT, what is RL, what is ZB? So ZT is the total burden in the ohms, vector summation of the resistance and inductance components. CT is secondary resistance in ohms at 75 degrees centigrade. So maximum temperature we have in 75 degree centigrade, because there will be some temperature rise will be there. So CT secondary resistance in ohms at 75 degree centigrade. RL is the resistance of lead in ohms, because we are calculating the burden. So lead is there. So of leads in ohm, total loop distance, that is given here 2 ohm. That is 2 ohm we have. And device impedance in ohm. That is what? Device impedance in ohm. So that is ZT is equal to RCT plus RL plus ZP. I hope you understand. Now CT saturation. A factor affecting degree and time to saturation, that is high DC offset, high fault current magnitude, symmetrical current. Example 100 to 5 CT means at 20 times, so 2000 amperes. Also at 2000 amperes we have 200 times CT. So low CT turn ratio, high secondary burden, low CT accuracy class, high remanence flux can occur if current interrupted when core is saturated. If DC flows in a winding during testing, we can say need a voltage above 60% of knee point to reduce the remanence to less than 10% of the saturation flux density. So these are the factors affecting degree and time to saturation. I hope you understand. Tips for avoiding saturation: use higher ratio CTs, always higher, not low ratio CT. Use separate set of high ratio CTs for high fault current tripping. Reduce secondary burden by selecting low burden relays and meters. Disturbing single phase burdens among phases. Increasing the size of secondary leads. Reducing the length of secondary leads. Leads reducing, we can say. Using step down auxiliary CTs. So we can do with the help of this. Now moving forward, this is the CT saturation curve with linear operation, knee limit of the curve. So we having the saturation. See here, below the line 60 current, above the line the voltage. It is showing you the knee point, higher and lower. Okay, I hope you understand. Then the typical window CT we having CT actual condition. Now see here, it is connected in the board. We can say the electric board and the supply. We having the system, that is the CT actual condition. Typical window CT we are having. So we having H1 and X1 means primary and secondary. Now power transformer CT connection. So we having the power transformer, we connect CT in this point here for the current measurement. So slip over current transformer to for installation over exterior of the outdoor bushing. We having bushings on the power transformer, so we place CT there. So for the current measurement, low voltage and high voltage. So outdoor type B burden 02 for retrofit we have, similar to that. Then we having ground shield like this for circuit breaker CT, substation class circuit breaker we having, and we having the ring structure of window CT we place here for the current measurement. That is ground shield. And outdoor B0 burden 07 replace BCT in shield aluminum housing. So we are using ground shield instead of others. Generator CT connection we are placing like this in the phases, generator CT like this. Okay. Now I hope you understand about the these current transformer and the potential transformer. A little bit potential transformer and more about current transformer. So related to that, we having some MCQs, multiple choice question. What is a current transformer? A transformer used with an AC ammeter, a transformer used with an DC ammeter, a transformer used with an AC voltmeter, a transformer used with an DC voltmeter. For example, we are saying it is a current transformer, so it always use ammeter. So option is A, AC. What is potential transformer? A transformer used with DC emitter with AC voltmeter, with DC emitter with AC with an AC voltmeter. So the option is B. Option is B. Now CT and PT are used for what? Measuring low current and voltages, measuring very low current and voltage, measuring high current and voltage, measuring intermediate current and voltage. So high current. Option C. The primary winding of CT has, if I am telling you that it is a step up construction, so less turn, few turns. So option is D. The secondary winding has of a site CT has obviously maximum turns. So a large number of turns. Option B. The turn ratio for a CT is NP by NS, NS by NP, 1 by NP, N is equals to NS only. So option is secondary to the primary, that is NS by NP. The primary winding of a PT, potential transformer. So as I earlier told you, the potential transformer is the similar construction to the step down transformer. The primary winding having higher, large number of turns. So option is a large number of turns, that is C. Secondary winding of PT has step down, few turns. So a few turns, option D. The turn ratio for PT, not for CT, that is NP by primary to secondary, NP by NS. How is frequency related to the time period? So square proportional, not related, directly proportional, inversely proportional. Obviously, F is inversely proportional to the T. So we can say 1 by T. So inversely proportional, option is D. So these are the reference books from which I took some material to deliver this lecture. The Dhanpat Rai Son's book, that is A.K. Sani, is a very good book. It's we can say the